but this last one should definitely be in the same vein because we're closing things out with the classic North America versus Europe rivalry as Team Liquid start their run against the rookies of Mad Lions. So let's start putting our thinking caps on, gentlemen. It's NAEU, TL Mad. Where do we even start with this one, Trev?
I mean, they're the pre-tournament favorites for the group, okay? 2 of these teams can advance. The expectation is one of them will take first and advance immediately. The other one should be able to do well in the best of 5s. But now we start seeing how these other teams are playing in Group B. You also need to factor that into the equation.
So I've been hanging out in LEC. I know the Mad Lions storyline, and we'll make sure we tell it. But I want to focus first on Team Liquid because I know Brox has been sent over there. We've got a nice European export. That's exciting. But how did it shape up for them?
Yeah, the regular season was pretty good for them. I think the main problem they faced going into Worlds was the champion pools. I think Brox's champion pool was kind of small. He basically had Lee Sin and Graves because Volibear said he doesn't play Set. Volibear and Trundle kind of got taken out. Maybe we'll see something like a Skarner, which we've seen sometimes in the national leagues in Europe. And then just across the board, champion pool issues. Again, Impact. It was mainly Mordekaiser on. But looking at Jensen, looking at CoreJJ, I think that's where their star players are.
It's super important to recognize Team Liquid didn't even make playoffs in spring. They had some changes going into summer, especially with the AD Carry Tactical, and then, of course, Jack coming in as the coach. They managed to perform very well in the regular season, but fell short in playoffs. Frankly, similar to Mad, who also fell short in playoffs. And I think you've touched on Broxah. Both Brox and Shadow are insane Lee Sin players. And Shadow's performance earlier today left a lot to be desired.
I will admit, I'm a little bit of a TL fanboy, not only because Jack was on the desk doing the LCS when I was tuning in, but also way back then he was going, running into walls and finding glitches. Now he's coaching Team Liquid. It is very exciting. You can see our head-to-head on the screen here. Broxah and Shadow, and there's a reason, Cadrel, we've jammed these two together.
Now, I feel like both of them have different playstyles, right? Shadow's the aggressive one. You saw in Game 1 today. I mean, he was going for plays which you would not expect to work. They didn't work in the end. He looked like he was griefing. He was the imposter. You got it right, guys. He was not playing so good. But in general, Broxah was the passive one. He's not really the one to look for those kind of plays. He's the one farming up, covering his lanes, looking for neutral objectives. So different clashing playstyles there. I'm excited to see how it goes, but Lee Sin is definitely a priority for both of these junglers, in my opinion. I think if one of them can get it, then the other one's going to have to answer, and I guess it might be Graves.
And I mean, Shadow has to perform better than he did earlier today. I also think another matchup that I'm going to be looking at is going to be Kaiser taking on CoreJJ. These are 2 of the playmakers from the support role. Kaiser was our mid-split MVP, and one of the things that's very interesting about this particular matchup is just how pivotal they can be when it comes to those mid-games and those engages.
Yeah, I mean, if you look at jungle support, it's the most important thing in the meta right now. And if you look at the game 1 Mad Lions had, it was their solo lanes and Carzzy which were kind of carrying the games. I feel like Kaiser and Shadow, although they had good mechanical plays and fights, they weren't really finding leads, they weren't really syncing up as well. So if Brox and CoreJJ can outperform them with the jungle support, I think Mad might struggle, but if they can pick it up after game 1, then they'll be very close.
Interesting. Okay, so eyes on Kaiser to step up the game as well and to see that support jungle coming through. Yeah, maybe so you're not expecting to see another Evelynn backflipping into a team fight. Not going to be having any...
Into an arrow.
Into an arrow.
Team fights I don't mind.
Okay,
Ash arrows I'm a little bit more disappointed.
We'll avoid the Ash arrows. We'll do our best. But we do want to focus on the playstyles as well, because this is something that caught my eye. I was watching some of the Team Liquid content and Jack addressed some of their issues, one of which was the pace of their game. Coming into a European Mad Lions squad, which are this, and you've, correct me if I'm wrong, been described as a scrappy, skirmish-driven, they need the fights. How does that react with a passive Team Liquid?
I mean, they're going to have to match them in the aggression. I feel like the jungle support's rowing mid so much. It's something Kaiser and Shadow are known for, like pairing together really well and getting all these kills. And if you look at Mad Lions in general, even the game 1 today, it had over 20 kills in 20 minutes. So there's going to be lots of fighting. Team Liquid need to respond. They have to be proactive. They can't be reactive against this team. And I feel like that's just kind of the idea behind Mad Lions. The rookies, the young blood, that's basically what they bring to the team.
And what you're seeing as well from all the 4 of the games that we've seen so far, the teams that have ended up being victorious are winners in those team fights. Despite the fact that it looked like Shadow was kind of turbo-inting at times, at the end of the day, the rest of the Mad Lions...
Don't say that again.
The rest of the Mad Lions were delivering what they needed to do to help win those team fights. So they still managed to maintain a lead, but I do think it needs to be cleaner. I'm very interested to see what Team Liquid are going to bring to the table, because one of the other big differences between these rosters is the level of experience on this stage, right? Mad Lions, 4 rookies to the international stage, and that's before you factor in the majority of the year has been played online. You look over at the Team Liquid roster, and you've got former world champions, former world finalists. There's so much experience across the board, and that is going to play into it.
I mean, okay, so you've got the perfect collaboration of just storylines. You've got NAEU, you've got fast versus slow, you've got experience versus rookies. Like, Jesus Christmas, you actually couldn't ask for much more in terms of just stories being written for you.
No, you absolutely can't. and I don't know who's going to win.
Well, I wasn't going to do the whole prediction
I know,
thing.
and I'm not going to because I think we're almost ready. Maybe we should just not touch it.
No, okay, you're right. Let's get this one started. Team Liquid, they might have fallen short in LCS Summer, but these players are known for rising up after being knocked down. In 2018, Jensen and Cloud9 went from play-ins all the way to a historical semi-final. Core JJ and Samsung Galaxy became world champions in 2017 without having won a domestic title. Team Liquid didn't win the LCS this year, but as Jat said, we still have Worlds.
That was awesome. That was